I'm doing this video today, Saturday, and yesterday I had a Zoom call with the members of my tribe. This is the people who come to our Discord. We get together every Friday at 3 o'clock, and we spent yesterday 2 hours together just discussing what's happening in the stock market, what's happening in the real estate market, what's happening in the geopolitical situation, and sharing our ideas and asking questions and getting support from each other. It's a very important part of this channel. And Mark, a regular member, a regular attendee, made the comment that he was feeling beat up and bruised. And he said, in fact, I'm having some doubts. Am I doing the right thing? Am I in the right place? Am I in the right stocks? And I said, well, I understand what you're saying, Mark, and I also understand that what you're dealing with is that unwanted roommate that's in your head that puts doubt in your mind, says you're not capable, you're not worthy. And I said, I've pretty much gotten rid of him. And I did it through an exercise of many years, really, to find out who Kerry is and why he is the way he is. And I actually wrote a book about it, Who Are You and Why Are You You? But that's not what I wanted to talk about today. What I wanted to talk about is the exercise I go through to reinforce that I'm doing the right thing, that I understand what I'm doing. And it's basically, I believe that if you buy the right stocks, you can make a fortune. And it's my belief that if I can find the right people who are smarter than me in a field that I don't maybe totally understand, but that is going to change the world, if I can find those people and then invest in them, I can achieve things that I can't even imagine. I mean, you look at Jeff Bezos, and I'll show you in a second that Jeff Bezos started Amazon. We all know they didn't make money for like 14 years, but his average annual return on that company is 75%. That's insane, but it's a fact. So if you could have identified Jeff Bezos on Spring Avenue in Salt Lake City back in the early 90s and invested $10,000 with him, it would be, well, it would actually only be worth $6.6 million. $10,000 invested in 1998. And that's not the only stock. And it's all part of something we recognized, the digital revolution, but we didn't have the courage, we didn't have the fortitude, and our unwanted roommate told us, no, I'll show you on a chart that you would have, if you had, you would have said, oh my God, I made a terrible mistake. And it's true of Apple, of Microsoft, of Amazon, NVIDIA, Google, Facebook. They all have traveled down this path, but they all were part of a digital revolution. So with Mark's comment and my coach, my wanted roommate, I wanted to share with you what I did this morning, this Saturday morning. My life is wrapped around the stock market. I was watching some thing on TV this last evening, a documentary about a lady who went deep into the ocean to find animals and fish and see what was happening in the depths of the ocean. And I thought, she doesn't know anything about the stock market, and I don't know anything about the depths of the ocean. In fact, she said we should not call this the earth. We should call it the ocean because there's more water than there is dirt. But I want to talk to you today about taking $60,000 and putting it in the right companies and turning it into 62.5 million. I'll show you how it happened. And if you're like me, if you can take that piece of information and understand how $60,000 turned into 62.5 million, you will say what I said. It can happen again, and it's going to happen again if I learn from what happened before. Okay, so that's what this video is about. It's not financial advice. It's more of financial education. And truly, who I want to reach on this is that 22-year-old who's graduating from college later in a couple of months or a month, because you have the opportunity. And I think I can point you in the direction to where this 62.5 million will be peanuts. You'll turn that into billion. All right, stick with me.
Best of Us Investors presents Carrie Griegmeyer.
Some of you are going to say this is repetitive. And I would say to you, think of me as your minister, your priest, your rabbi, the person who really believes that they can help you and that they know something you need to know. That's who I am. I'm not saying I'm a priest or a rabbi or a minister, but maybe I am. Maybe I'm a minister of financial literacy. And maybe because of my years, I look at a longer horizon. I'm not interested in instant gratification. With age, that goes away. At least it doesn't show up as often, okay? The drive is not there. I'm more interested in studying, learning, gaining an edge. Because again, as you age, you slow down. But as you slow down, you have time to look deeper, to understand more. And I want to take you over to my computer and just take you through what I did this morning to help me understand how I can teach you to take $60,000 and turn it into $62.5 million. It's happened before. So let's go to the computer. What you're looking at here is a chart that I've shown you before that tracks the growth from IPO of Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, NVIDIA, Google, and Facebook. And in each one of them, what I've presumed is that I invest $10,000 at the IPO. So cumulatively, it's an investment of $60,000 over a 40-year period of time. Then what I've done is I've researched to find the growth of the stock on an annual basis, such as looking at Microsoft. The first year it had 125% growth. The next year it had a -2, a 63, a 73, and then you had here down in 2000 a 64% decline in value. And I went through each of these 6 stocks and then said, okay, what would my 10,000 have grown to? And you'll see that Apple would have grown 10,000 initially invested at the IPO would have grown to $18 million. What you'll see is the value of compounding interest, that a 35% gain in 2021 means a heck of a lot more than a 35% gain in 1982. It's compounding interest. So time is so essential. And that's why I like to talk about, if I could only get 22-year-olds to understand this. But what you see is each of these stocks have grown over the years. Look at Amazon. Its annual return, average annual return is 75%. So what's important is that you get in early. I did a video yesterday and said, okay, yeah, but how do you identify these stocks? And I jokingly said, well, you Google it. You look for the people. And I mean, if you think about it, what you're buying with Apple was Steve Jobs. What you're buying with Microsoft was Bill Gates, and Amazon, Jeff Bezos, and so on. So the important thing is to educate yourself, to know what's going to happen relative to a change in the world, digital revolution, and then find the people who are going to make it happen. I wanted to give you another perspective on this. This is a chart I made where I've shown those same 6 stocks and their growth pattern going back, as I said, to the 80s when Microsoft is that orange line, and Amazon is the I guess it's purple line, and Apple being the red and green, NVIDIA, Tesla. And what I want to do is then pull this forward so that you can see how these things change. Look at that. That's Amazon when it moved into more of a dominant position, okay? And then you're going to see that when Tesla around, I guess, 2014 came in, it became a dominant factor. And then more recently, NVIDIA is your driving force. So the key is to recognize who, in fact, is going to drive this and who the people are behind it. And in yesterday's video, I spoke very specifically as to who the people are behind it. So then I want to show you what I do and how I deal with the situation that I find myself, and how, like Mark said, how do you get that unwanted roommate to settle down? I go to the Wall Street Journal. I subscribe to the Wall Street Journal. I get it delivered to my driveway, but more importantly, I get a digital copy, and by getting a digital copy, I actually see what's going on before it ever hits the newspaper. And I found this article on Cathie Wood's flagship fund down 45% this year, and the money is still flowing in. That warmed my heart. As you can see, they're comparing, the green is ARK Invest, the NASDAQ Composite, and the S&P. And again, this is ARK. So what they're saying is there's still money flowing into this. And something just as a sidelight, I'm dyslexic. I don't like to read, but this will read this article to me.
Fund is down 45% this year. Money
so if you're like me and you don't like to read, subscribe to the Wall Street Journal and get the digital copy, and they'll read it to you. They go in this article into which stocks are performing well and which aren't. But I came across part of it here that I thought was very interesting. They are saying that about $59 million last week came into, is that what it is? ARK. They funneled more than $658 million thus far this year, and $59 million of it came last week, while at the same time, the Invesco's QQQs were losing $2.3 billion year to date. So in essence, what they're saying here is there's a part of the investment community that is starting to buy back into technology and disruption and focusing on genome, metaverse, the medical revolution. So I find confidence in this as an investor, and I would hope you would too. Now, this is a spreadsheet that I did, and I did it specifically for 22-year-olds, college graduates, and to show them if they would invest just $6,000 a year and what they would accumulate at various rates of return. If they invested just in the S&P 500, what their return would be at 8%. That's the annual return. This is the NASDAQ. I got this from Invesco's QQQs. That was 13%. But then what I did was go back to that first chart I showed you with Amazon, Google, Microsoft, and Apple, and said, I discounted it by 25%. They averaged 44% from their inception. I took it down to 33. And I want to show you this 22-year-old, when he turns 59 years old, will cross $1 billion if he knows the stocks to invest in. And again, how does he know the stocks to invest in? Watch my video from yesterday. You don't invest in the company as much as you search and find the people and then invest in the companies that they're involved in. Much as I said, if I could have found Bill Gates in 1982 or in 1989, or found Steve Jobs in 1982, I would have known that they were onto something and I need to invest in it. But I couldn't do that because I didn't have Google then. I do have Google now. How did I find Jennifer Doudna, George Church, Fred Zhang, and Emmanuel Carpentier? Well, I first found Jennifer because she and Emmanuel were given the Nobel Peace Prize for science, which was all around CRISPR. And I believe very strongly in that. So to me, that was the World Wide Web, Bill Gates and Steve Jobs. That's how I made the transition. So I believe that a 22-year-old could invest this 33 and $6,000 a year into a Roth IRA. And in 40 years, what would that be? 22 at 62, they would have $3.1 billion. Now you say, that's insane. It's happened before. I just showed you that. It's happened before. So I'm confident it can happen again. I just need to do the work. And what I have realized is I can't do it by myself. So I have created the tribe. And the tribe is within my Discord. Then what I have done is said, I need more experts. I need what Kathy Woods has. I need a group of analysts. So what I'm doing is going out and buying the information, the research from stock gurus, people who have shown a history of finding the best stocks. And I'm paying for their information. I then have an analyst that sorts through it and feeds it to me, and then I feed it to my tribe members. That's how I want to go about it. I think this is the gift from the gods. It's the internet. That in 1982 I couldn't have done that when Microsoft was coming, because we didn't have the internet. We didn't have Discords. We didn't have Zoom calls. We didn't have the ability to make better investment decisions on a cumulative effort. So I would not have found Amazon, Google, Microsoft, Apple. But now I can. And all I'm doing is taking advantage of technology and following people that I believe will take me there. And that includes Kathy Woods. She tells me what she buys every day. I'm not as broad as she is, meaning I don't own as many stocks. I don't have a board of directors and investors that I have to answer to. I can do this on my own with the help of my tribe, and at the same time, help my tribe members achieve their three goals. And that is make better investment decisions. And you do that by using the tools that are at your disposal, to include Seeking Alpha and stock cards and I Trust Capital, as well as paying for other people, as well as bringing 18,000 people into a Discord and asking them their opinion. And then having a group meeting. I mean, as I've gotten into this, how can you do this by yourself? You'll eat yourself alive. Okay, that's how I approach investing. I would ask you, if it's right for you, come join us. If it's not, okay, but it's happened before. So I know it can happen again. And if you're 22 years old, you can accumulate, by the time you're 77 years old, $169.6 billion. It's there waiting for you. Get rid of that roommate up in your head that says, that can't happen. That old man's crazy. Because that old man is not crazy. He's got a lot of experience. He's a retired financial advisor. He's made his million. He's just going to make many more millions. I just wish I was 22 years old. And that's Nita and I on November the 6th, 1966, 22 years old. If you're there, make a comment. I want to grow my audience of people 35 and under, because I can make such a difference in your life. I can change your horizons and show you how you can have more than you ever imagined was available to you. You live in the United States. You have the right to invest in people who are smarter than you. And right now, that's biotech. Talk to you again tomorrow.